Turn it up.
Welcome, everybody, to 3NN Podcast. I'm Nick Tesla.
I'm Richard Colazzo. What's going on?
And we're here to let you know that nothing is impossible. And if you're listening to this, you are the future. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We got a wonderful show. It's going to be a concise show today. And we're going to get into sustainable development. I guess to start things off real quick for Brian. Brian is not here today.
No, he's not. He's
Brian...
sick.
His first words, yeah, he's sick, that's for sure. I don't know if anybody can help the kind of sick he's got, but anyway, if Brian was here, the first thing he would say is, Agenda 21! Agenda 21! It's Agenda 21 and it's bullshit! Don't let them do it! Alright, well here's my thing, right? Agenda 21 is kind of bullshit, right? Or is kind of, I'm honestly not sure it's actually in effect or there's anything actual that has come from the real Agenda 21.
I actually didn't do any research on Agenda 21, so I have no idea.
Well, Agenda 21 has yet to really be fully implemented. Some people try and say it's implemented here and there, and they're trying to push it through and this and that. But Agenda 21 opens the door. People who say, no, it's Agenda 21. No, don't let them do it. All right, it's okay to say we want to fix these problems without government intervention, but it's not okay to say, well, the only way to fix these problems is government intervention, and no, don't let that happen. Don't let that happen because of Agenda 21. Well, we need to fix these problems, and we're going to start with the problems. And this is from sustainabledevelopment.un.org. So you might think we're some UN shills today, and I really don't care because these issues need to be addressed. Okay?
Big time.
So I want to go through these one by one. It's they have a list of 1 to 17 of the different things, and I'd just like to go through them one by one real quick and kind of go over exactly how important that issue is to humanity, not to the world, to humanity, to our species and the survival of our species and the evolution of our species. And does government intervention hamper that from happening? And could we actually step up and maybe find ways to solve those issues ourselves? You know. So I guess number one, what do you see there, Rich?
I see no poverty.
And I guess it's fitting to be number one.
Yeah,
right?
because poverty is the biggest thing right now, period.
And that's the biggest issue that we all need to take care of, or we all need to
Poverty's really bad, man. It's really bad, man.
Okay.
I think, what is it, like 4 billion people are in poverty? Or it's a hefty amount. I know that.
I got it
it's
actually
ridiculous.
right here, Rich. If you'll just give me 2 seconds, can you hand me? Is that it up there? That is it. Hand me that right there. I actually was doing a little research last night. Look at this, dude. You won't believe this. 1 in 4 people on this planet live as humans did 6,000 years ago.
Oh, my God.
That means without power, without running water, without
my God, that's
essentials.
ridiculous.
That's 1.5 billion people that are living the exact same way everybody lived 6,000 years ago.
Oh, my God.
There's something wrong with that. We're sitting here in a comfortable apartment with plush carpet and this and that, and these people don't even have the fucking essentials. And we don't think about that on a daily basis.
You know what's funny, man? Because I was watching this thing on. I don't know if you know is what a jigger is. You know what jiggers are?
You mean like for drinking?
No.
I don't know. I heard that on John Taffer.
It's a jigger. It's a parasite that goes into your skin.
Oh, I have heard of jiggers. Yeah, that's the jigger I don't like to think about. That's the jigger. Have you ever seen pictures of them? Like microscopic pictures? Oh,
dude, I pictures, man. There's this guy who right now is in Kenya, Africa. Right now they have a huge epidemic. It's huge. It's actually worse than anything you can even think of.
A jigger epidemic?
A jigger epidemic. There's people that are like that live in extreme poverty, and they are literally covered with thousands of these fucking jiggers. Man.
Oh my God!
It's so bad, and there's only like maybe a handful of people that are surgically removing these jiggers.
Oh my God! So it's an epidemic, and nobody's addressing it.
Nobody's addressing it. Not the UN, not the governments, nobody.
Yeah,
and it's insane. Like, there's people that are dying from it. There's people that are just like completely covered from head to toe in thousands and thousands of these jiggers.
See?
And it's all because of the poverty.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
And that's a shame, dude. That's a shame. And I'm sure Brian would have brought it up already. We have so much poverty in this world, yet we have literally millions, maybe not multiple millions, but at least over a million empty homes.
Yeah.
Empty homes.
Yeah.
Think about the ghost cities China has built.
Yeah.
And I almost think China has built them to when they take over the world, they're going to say, hey, all you poverty-stricken people, I know everybody hates us, but look, everybody who's dealing with poverty, we built these cities and they're empty.
You can come
live
here.
in them.
You could come here.
Well, they've been sitting empty for so long. All you have to do is get a job and pay your utilities, okay?
What is it? I watched a documentary on that too. It was about China, how they build these cities,
Yeah.
and it's the empty cities, and,
Yeah.
and they're
It's for economic reasons. They're just to keep their economy growing.
Yeah,
That's
they're
all.
just building them
It's for the purpose of keeping the economy growing.
they're building cities probably the size of Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and they're just abandoning them.
Yeah. Part of me wants to find a way that I can get out there and just run the city and maybe film like a post-apocalyptic movie or something in these cities, because it's just like you don't get empty cities. That's just what's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like I was watching a documentary last night called Home, and it was talking about as the sea levels rise, your coastal cities, a lot of your coastal cities are going to close out or going to empty out. Oh, simply for the fact they're not going to become flooded, simply for the fact that their water table is actually going to become contaminated with salt water. Exactly, New York.
Pay attention.
And
Pay attention.
People aren't going to be able to drink the water, so they're going to leave. And I'm start thinking to myself, well, especially in New York, they ain't going to be like, oh, can't drink the water, time to get out of here. They're going to be like, hold up, I can still get Pepsi down the street. I can still get myself a Miller Lite when I get off of work. All right, then you know what? I don't care. I ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy too, man? I think the reason why poverty is so messed up in the first place is because the lack of jobs that were given in those communities, in those towns. Like, they went around, they took a poll, the UN, and it was like, what would you rather have? Would you rather us bring food, or would you rather us bring jobs? And 90% of the people said we'd rather have jobs. Like Haiti,
exactly.
They would
Teach a man
rather
to fish.
Yeah, they would rather have jobs, because UN intervention by bringing them food actually makes the whole situation worse.
Yes, it
because
does.
they're not bringing enough food for everybody. They can't.
But what you also got to understand is when you accept that aid from the UN, and when the UN brings you that aid, there are actually certain restrictions that come, or certain requirements that come with that aid, as far as you now are almost indentured to the UN and to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And that's and a lot of times financial aid that they get from the UN, these countries get from the UN, they basically, to get this financial aid and keep their country itself above water, they basically have to accept, basically poverty levels. They have to accept a assigned poverty level for the country. I can't remember exactly what the word is, but they basically have to accept that there's going to be restricted, and they're not going to be able to have access to a lot of food or access to a lot of housing and this and that. And that's all because they've received this loan from the IMF. And it's like, you can see why some of these countries are like, we don't want any help from the UN. We don't want any help from any of you people, because all it is, you just make stuff worse. You take care of our immediate problem, and down the line, things get worse. And it's like, well, how is that solving anything? And then down the line, you say, well, give the UN more money so we can help battle this problem. And it's like, you don't think those people are looking at it like, you're not battling the problem.
Exactly.
Send us that money.
What you're doing is pretty much what they're doing is they're taking a gunshot wound and putting a Band-Aid over it and saying like, oh, okay, maybe it might, hopefully it gets better. Yeah. And, not worried about the infection or anything like that. So
it really is a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame, man.
But you know what it comes down to? It comes down to the solution of every day. You are a mirror. The world is a mirror of yourself, okay? So if poverty, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about individually, as a person, each one of us, right? The world is a mirror of ourselves. So if poverty is still an issue, what does that tell me? That tells me that there's way too many of us walking past a homeless man and saying, you know what, that's his problem, or I don't have time for it. Exactly. And there's way too many of us not willing to take the time to help out our fellow human being because, oh, well, they've put themselves in that space. I've got my own stuff to worry about, or I don't want them to drag me down to their level. I'm trying to lead a successful life. And it's like we have to put that aside and understand the connection, that we're all connected. We're all human beings. We're all brothers and sisters. Did you see,
I watched this clip on YouTube. It was this guy that was, it was an experiment. And it was, the guy was homeless. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they took a suit. They cleaned him up, put him in a suit, and they were like, "Hey, look,
I've seen this experiment.
Can you ask?
Yes.
What we want you to do is just go around asking people for money for like the train or something like that.
Yep.
But he had a suit on,
Yep.
and people were more than willing to give this guy
Yep.
$1,
Yep.
$2.
Yep.
To, hey, here, can I,
Yep.
here, you need money
no
to catch the
problem,
train?
man.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
exactly.
But as soon as he was in his regular,
Yep.
getup,
Yep.
then it was kind of like, no, like people
Yeah.
just completely ignored him.
Exactly.
And it's wrong.
It's a social psychological problem. I've seen the exact same kind of video, but they took the same exact guy. I don't think he was originally homeless, but they took the same exact guy, and in one video, they dressed him up in a suit, and they had him go out and walk in like this open square. There's a lot of people walking around, and they had him fall over and go, help, somebody help. And people start running up like, oh my God, sir, are you okay? Oh my God, like 20 people come running up around this guy. Every single time he does it, at least 5 or 10 people come running up to this guy to help him. He's in a suit. When he's a homeless guy and he falls down, he goes, somebody help.
Nobody cares.
People just walk by and act like they don't even notice it. Like it's not even in their reality. That person literally does not exist in their reality.
Why do you think people are like that though? Like honestly, like why?
People are scared to admit that they could ever be in that when they interact. No, not that they could ever help, that they could ever be in that position. People are scared to think that they could end up in that position through no fault of their own or through no actual intention of their own.
Well,
everybody wants to think, well, these people put themselves there. But then when you actually think about it, it's like, well, some people lose their homes and lose everything, and that wasn't really their fault.
I was about to say to the people, to the listeners who are listening, it's I'm gonna tell you right now, it's a fine line between what you have and what you don't have.
Yep.
And as soon as you cross that threshold, it's easy to not have, to lose everything and not have nothing.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think it's a lack of compassion.
Whenever you see somebody out on the street, man, and they definitely need help them.
So here's my thing. I see a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not going to give him $5 because, or I'm not going to give him $1 because I know what he's going to go do with that and this and that. Well, one, if you were in his position, maybe you'd want to drink away your sorrows. Maybe you're just trying to literally drink until it's over, until this bad experience is over. You know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, okay, if you don't want to give them money, if you don't want to help them out in that way, they need something to eat. They may be hungry. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think a lot of times, and it's from every perspective. I know sometimes I've given a homeless person food and they've given me a look like, what the fuck is this? Like, get the fuck away from me. And that, I know to some people, to me, that would never dismay me from giving anybody, any other homeless person food. But I know to some people, they're like, aha, and that confirms to them inside their head because that one person gave them a weird look. Instead of fucking putting money in their cup, they gave them a sandwich or something. That one person gave them a weird look. And instead of saying, okay, that one person gave me a weird look, they say, I was right. All these homeless people don't really want food. They just want money so they can go get fucked up and they don't help anybody anymore.
At the same time, no, it should be about willpower. Now, I think people who are homeless, we shouldn't be just giving them free. I mean, we should give them free homes and we should give them free food. But what we also should be doing is training them to want to be something in life, as opposed to as opposed to just covering up the wound.
We have to show them that they have value.
They have value.
They come to a point once they reach that where they feel they have no value.
Exactly.
And the world around them reflects that back to them.
Exactly.
That they have no value. We have to show them that they have value, that they're still human beings. The only issue there, it's not really an issue, but the only thing that we have to be conscious of there is some people are not physically able. Okay, and some people are not mentally able to bring themselves out of that condition, and we have to be understanding of those people, that we can't just go to those people and be like, yo, listen, you got to get your shit together, you got to get yourself a job, and you have value.
And
look, you're a great person, but to that person, that might screw up. The person who's mentally challenged, that might screw them up. That's what I fear, is half of our homeless people out there have some sort of a mental issue that they're dealing with, and nobody's helping them.
See,
they're trying to deal with it themselves.
And that's where the training comes in, man. If we start training people, the homeless people, like, all right, we put them in these, we make these programs, these programs to train people to want to learn how to get back on their feet, and to realize that their true value. We will see a very big decline in poverty because those people will end up getting jobs. Those people will end up, but see, a lot of it comes from their environment. Right. Because if they're coming from a broken home and broken relationships and stuff like that, like, they don't have that knowledge to actually get on that stool. So I think when it comes down to it, we really have to hone in on, from the beginning, from the time that we're all children.
Yes.
That sense of value, like you have some. We
have to learn to understand that people sometimes fall off the track of where they were headed in life or where they wanted to go in life. Sometimes people fall off the track and they are willing to get back on the track, but just because they fell off the track isn't a reason to treat them as though they're lost forever. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people think that, like, oh, well, you fell off the track and you did that to yourself, so you're lost forever. And it's like that can have like such detrimental and damaging effects on the psyche of somebody who's homeless, who actually does want to get themselves out of it and is really struggling to find a way to get themselves out of it.
And you know what? It also comes down to like just our educational system. Period. Like a lot of people aren't meant to play basketball. You know, in the black communities, a lot of people aren't meant to become mathematicians. Yeah. A lot of people aren't meant to be, scientists and stuff like that. Some people are meant to be artists. You know, and we have to start embracing them people who are artists.
Yes,
you know, we have to embrace the people who are musicians. And,
why do you think they say starving artist? Why do you think starving artist is a term, a well-known term?
We need to start honing in on people's strengths as opposed to trying to get their weaknesses stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This guy sucks at math, but he's really good at drawing. Why? We train him in math. You know, try to get him up there, but at the same time, we got to hone in on his strengths.
But that guy could also be just as smart as Albert Einstein when it comes to math.
Exactly.
And just hasn't been taught math in the way that it's going to get through to him. You know what I'm saying? Some people are much more visual. I was telling my girlfriend about this last night, how when I was in school reading books and all the stuff they were trying to teach me, I hated it. I thought it was so stupid and so boring. But when I got home, I had this kid's encyclopedia set, and it had like illustrations in it and stuff. And the illustrations really helped me to understand that stuff.
I'm a visual.
I couldn't learn it the other way.
We're visual learners.
When I had it visual, I was interested and I was able to learn.
I'm definitely a visual learner.
So let's move on, because the next one is literally, I think, if not as important, right up there and right there, they're neck and neck. Number 2, zero hunger.
Yeah. Well, when it comes down to zero hunger, you already know my take on this. Mm-hmm. If the world goes vegan, there would be no hunger issue anymore. Not at all.
Yeah.
Either vegan or vegetarian.
I think it's kind of the same thing with hybrid cars. I know you're gonna be like, what? How is this? But the one thing that I don't want to make sure, because there's no way to really make sure, but I guess we should all be aware of, and if we do end up going down that path, and that path seems like that it's going to be the best path, I think it would be hard to get a lot of people to agree to that. But if we did end up agreeing to that, the one thing I don't want to see happen is all of us think that we've got it figured out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do you mean?
I don't want all of us to think that all of a sudden if humanity has evolved and become so smart because now all of a sudden we're all vegans. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we've got all this figured out, and any kind of health issues, like, no, that's
no. I don't think it's that. I think that to stop hunger, it's about feeding people food, and you can't feed people food that's strictly a Western meat filled diet. You can't. Yeah. It's physically impossible.
Well, also think about this: 90% of the world's grain that is grown for livestock.
For livestock, okay? Exactly.
So if we eliminated the livestock business, which would upset so many people, but if we did that, if we eliminated the livestock business, all of that grain can be used to feed humans.
Not only humans, but the poor.
But the thing is, we don't even need to do any of that. Yes, I definitely agree with you that could end up ending poverty once and for all. But I think we have enough food now to feed the poor.
Oh, we do.
You know?
Of course. But the thing is, we can't feed everybody steaks.
Huh?
We can't feed everybody steaks. We can't.
We can't feed everybody's what?
Steaks.
No, but I'm saying now. I'm not even saying with just steaks. Yeah,
we have the capability of doing it now.
I'm not talking about the capability. I'm saying we have the food, and not just meat.
Oh, no, we do.
If you took out all of the meat out of that, I think we still have enough food. But the problem there is half of that food is processed food, because half of it is coming from developed Western countries.
Well, what is processed food?
What is processed food? Anything that's been processed in a factory or in a plant to be changed from its original form.
What is 90% of processed food, though?
What?
You know what 90% of processed food is, right?
What?
It's grains, it's lentils, it's the stuff that we should just be eating anyway. It's potatoes.
But some of that processed food is not natural stuff whatsoever.
It's not good for you, and they put things in it to make it processed.
Even worse, they add chemicals.
But
and
why
preservatives.
we don't even need to process it at this point. If we just eliminate the meat, dairy, and the egg industry, and then also work on the problems within the processed food, then we could just it all falls into place. All the pieces just connect because we're able to feed the people those kinds of foods,
See, but I
healthier
think
foods.
With where we're at now in this world, and I just don't think it's even really feasible. I don't think it's feasible to.
It's feasible because
eliminate the meat industry, the egg industry, and what was the other one? Dairy. To eliminate them would literally be like trying to drill to the center of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it would be like that because people are too stubborn.
People, exactly. And business interests. I just got into this about marijuana legalization and somebody trying to say that business interest is not that interested in making money or this or that. And it's like, business interest is very interested in making money, and they will kill and do whatever they have to make sure nobody stops them from making their money. And that is kind of an issue. It's almost like we need not a revolution, as Brian would like to say, of a political revolution to let them know that our founding fathers did. No, we need a humanity revolution. We need a world revolution, and not a violent revolution. It has to be. That's the problem with revolutions. When people start talking about revolutions, you think about some dude out there with a gun, like, I will protect myself and my family.
Yep, just like what's going on
we
with
need a intellectual and a peaceful revolution of humanity.
Just like what's going on with the Trump thing right now.
Where we reject what is obviously dumb, where we promote common sense, you know what I'm saying? So, and we promote good health and well-being. Number 3, good health and well-being is super important, and it goes along with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it goes along with food. It goes
really
along
does.
with, the more...
But you know what I think also goes with that? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think what goes along with that, and this is where a lot of people say with the meat and all those industries, because you'll have people that love eating a steak every night. Like, yo, no, you're not going to tell me that we're getting rid of the meat industry. Well, with the exact same thing, alcohol, cigarettes. Okay, but here's the issue. We do want to focus on health and well-being, but do we want to remove people's personal freedom to ensure that health and well-being? Or do we work on education, educating the masses? Speaking of number 4, quality education.
And
we need to educate
and like we said
people
earlier, the quality of education needs to switch. It needs to change. It needs to change in drastically in many ways. And like we were saying earlier, it just people aren't meant to be scientists. Not everybody's meant to be a scientist, a mathematician.
The United States
like
is
that.
the turd in a punch bowl when it comes to to education in the world.
It's bad.
If the United States could kind of get their shit together, pardon my language, but if the United States could get their shit together and actually start teaching valuable things, do you know back in the day, back in, I believe, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, back in the 1950s, that high school level education was the same equivalent to a college level education nowadays.
Yep.
Do you know what a high school education nowadays is equivalent to a 1950s education?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
We're graduating high school and going into the adult world with a middle school education.
Yep.
And we're thinking that we can affect the world and that we know what's best for the world and this and that. And then we like to tell these other countries that they're stupid and they don't know. You know, because we're American, we know best and this and that. And it's like we're becoming more and more stupid and more proud of it. There's something wrong with that.
People need to, but that all comes down to the teachers.
It comes down to the Education Association.
Yeah.
It comes down to the teachers caring, but you're not going to get the teachers to care without the Education Association out of the way, because there's a middleman there between the teachers actually teaching valuable information to these children and the children learning it. There's a middleman in between there that's muddying up the waters with Common Core and certain things like that and revisionist history. These kids are not actually taught anything that is remotely the truth. I almost feel like it's been engineered, the United States public education system has been engineered to almost turn kids away from it, to make kids not interested in learning information. And if they are interested, they're going to be interested in learning about
it all comes down to
nonsense.
Because it comes down to people teaching a dogmatic belief. this is how the universe works.
Right.
This is how math works. This is
Right.
what everything around you works. So you're not allowed to think outside the box. And once you start thinking outside the box, even in academic highest academic standards,
Yep.
once you start thinking out the box, you're either a
See, that's
quack
what
or
upsets
something
me.
like that. And it shouldn't be like that.
That's what upsets me about global warming is because there have been actual scientists that have come out and they're not saying global warming's a complete and total sham. No, they say, I'm not sure about the information. I'm not sure. We need to do more research into this. I'm not 100% sure that our conclusion is correct. And you know what? Those people are demonized. That's not science.
Mm-hmm.
Science, you don't demonize somebody who wants to evaluate more.
Well,
who is not sure.
We're not supposed to. We're not just supposed to demonize people, but they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it anyway.
It's the scientific community is also a little bit jaded. All right, number 5.
Gender equality.
Gender equality is super important, I believe.
All right, so check this out. I was doing a little bit of research on this a long time ago.
Okay.
And did you know in ancient Egypt, they were actually in what is it called, a monarchy society?
Monarch or oligarch?
Monarch society.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you're right.
pretty much it was a woman-driven society. Ancient Egypt was a woman-based society. Women were held as higher than men.
Yes.
And then later throughout the ages, it started to become
It transitioned
to
a
male
world.
And then what happened was that was pretty much the fall of ancient Egypt. But before that, when men and women were pretty much equal, they were equal in everything. It pretty much ran perfect
The
for
way it
over
was supposed to,
for
exactly.
thousands of years.
Exactly.
It ran
The duality.
It was a perfect duality.
Exactly.
And it ran perfect. I think if we get back to that same knowledge, where
Yeah.
where men and women
Yep.
are completely the same,
Yep.
there would be a better.
And that's where you have
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
the alpha male coming out, and 80% of males on this planet.
No,
no.
listen,
You don't
listen.
understand. The man does this, and the man does that, and I'm the blah blah.
I go to
and I'm
work.
the breadwinner.
God damn it!
Yeah,
God damn it! I want my dinner on my
But
table.
I completely agree. I told somebody that years ago. I'd come across something where it had said that literally thousands of years ago it was switched around, whereas women were in charge and women were the dominant gender of our species. And
Yeah,
like
for
I
a long
told somebody
time.
that, and they were like, "That's never been.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
but that's
yeah.
never been the case." And I was
Yes,
like,
it has.
"No, I'm pretty
Oh, yeah.
sure." And at the time, I believe I had stumbled across it as being something that before Egypt and before Lemuria, there were other civilizations that we're not even
yeah.
aware of now, and those civilizations were ran by women.
Yep.
And that may have been part of their downfall, is that they weren't aggressive enough in defending or keeping it up. But they also
that could have been part of it. But I think a big part of it is because men were we were the hunter gatherers, so we did the dirty work. Because we did the dirty work, we expected when we came back there should be food on the fucking table.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole hierarchy comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that pretty much is like, all right, well, if I'm getting the food, I come back, I want dinner on my table, then I run shit.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
Well, see, I think somehow, I don't know if women let them do it. I don't know if they were getting good dick. I don't know what the situation is. Okay? But the women were fucking, I don't even know. I can't even finish my thought on that. It's just, I really don't know.
Well, to me, we should definitely start. I mean, because we are
women
doing it
used
now.
to take care of the family, and
No,
that was.
yeah. But that's 1950s, man. That was
No, I'm talking about back thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
The women were responsible, like you said. The men were the hunters and gatherers. They went out. What did the women do? They stayed home and took care of the clan. They still stayed home and took care of their own and took care of the family. Therefore, they were the head. The male was just
you know
he
what?
was just a tool.
Why-
he was
why-
just used to go out and get food and come back
And
and,
why
and
did
be
women do that?
a defender. You know,
You know,
what I'm
and you know what's funny? That you said it, but why? I'm thinking in my mind.
Archetypes.
Why were women told to stay home to take care of the family, and take care of the village and shit like that? Why?
I don't know if they were
You know
told,
why?
but
No, but do you know why they would? Because they were the important ones.
they were the important ones, but they're also they had the feminine energy, whereas a
Exactly.
male energy is more dominant, more aggressive, and a female energy
So
is
that's
more loving
exactly.
and
So
more soft.
we went out.
and
we
that's
went
good
out.
for taking care of a
And,
family. Especially within the walls of your house.
and in order for humans to survive, yeah, you need male and female, but the most important person is the female because she can bear children.
Something I think
that's in all animal kingdoms.
You're 100% right, dude. You're 100% right. Something I think that we need to come back to this. Yes, we're definitely moving on, but we need to come back to this, the gender equality thing, and I think a perfect way to come back to it, we'll do another show on it, and I think we should do a whole show on it. But I think the follow-up before that show, what I need you to look into, and there's something in the Where We Lied To boards if you want to check that out, is Carl Jung, Anima, Animus.
Okay.
Anima and animus. They're the archetypes of males and females, and they're different.
Next topic: clean water and sanitation.
Clean water.
So check this out.
Sanitation. Are we talking about Flint, Michigan, or are we just talking about in general?
That's pretty fucked up, man.
It is, but it's Flint, Michigan.
But listen, so I did research on this also.
Okay.
Humans didn't drink water in ancient times.
And the water was dirty.
It was dirty.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, after they discovered alcohol like beer and wines and moonshine, stuff like that, people predominantly drank those drinks.
Well, grog was like the number one drink for the longest time in the Middle Ages.
So,
because
I'm not saying that humans shouldn't be drinking water. What I am saying is we shouldn't focus. We should try to focus on giving them better options to drink, because we're supposed to drink that. We're supposed to have eight glasses of water a day or some crap like that. But humans back in the day didn't drink water.
But that's part of evolution. In my mind, that's part of the human evolution. Is for the longest time we weren't able to drink water because it was dirty, and it would just get us sick. And
exactly.
Give us, dysentery and diarrhea and this and that, right? But now we've come to a point in our evolution where we can filter that water. And what can we filter that water with? We don't need some giant big machine and this and that. We just need a little straw called the life straw. Why? This number 6 can be solved. Maybe not solved, but a major chunk of it, providing clean water to the planet, to the people of this planet that do not have access to clean water. They have access to water, but not clean water. A life straw is the answer. Why have life straws not been distributed to all of these poverty-stricken nations?
There's a machine that this guy made that filters any dirty kind of dirty water. It doesn't matter if it's extremely filled with it can have a dead animal in it.
That's what the life straw does.
It can have a dead animal in it.
99.9% of contaminants.
I forget this machine. What this machine's called? Crap. But anyway, they sent it to certain parts of Africa. They were doing just testing, and it was 100% success. Yeah, people just had fresh water for months and years, but the thing is, it costs so much money.
It does.
But it also costs money to make those life straws too.
The life straws cost money to make, but you know what? Sometimes the money is worth it, and sometimes if we ask humanity to step up, I don't think anybody's asked humanity to step up and say, hey, let's buy life straws for everybody. Maybe they haven't, people haven't heard it, or it didn't get out there enough that it actually became a real movement or anything. But life straws should be sent to everybody. And another thing I want to mention before we move on
Flint,
is one thing that we could do. Okay, and there's one thing that I'm not saying every single one of us, but there's plenty of us out there that could be doing it, and we don't. We're more interested in watching the Super Bowl or playing our WWF game or something, right? But the one thing that we could do is be like Einar Rubilar. We can watch people who set the example for the rest of humanity. You know what Einar Rubilar has done? Einar Rubilar, you know who Einar Rubilar is, right? We worked with him at the restaurant.
Einar. Yeah, Einar.
Everybody called him Einar. I hated that they called him Einar because it sounded like Wiener.
Yeah.
You know what he did? He goes to Africa. He has 5 or 6 different villages that he is not the boss, but he is like a god to them. You know why he's a god? Because he comes out there once a year, once every couple of years, he comes out and digs wells and helps them out. He dug wells for 4 or 5 different villages in Africa where they had no clean water, and he came out with his American money and American know-how and shovels and tools and all that, what? And they dug a well for these people, and they have clean water.
But you know what it also
That's one person affecting all of those people and giving those people clean water for the next 10 years.
But you know what you could also do? I think
that's where there's no money.
I think what we could do is, especially in poverty-stricken countries like that, we can teach people the importance of our tradition as the human species, meaning hunter-gatherer type ordeals.
Yes, learning how to fish. That's what we need to do.
Learning how to find water. We gotta. That's another way to.
Yes, you're 100% right, dude.
Learning how to find water.
Yep.
Learning how to purify water on your own.
Yep.
If you have bad water, like in Flint, all you need, if you really want to know how to get rid of all of that stuff,
Yeah.
you want to boil the water.
I don't know if you can boil lead out.
Yeah, I'm just saying. In
But
general,
I know exactly
like,
what you're saying.
but
Exactly.
like,
If you had those,
yeah,
if you had the
you
knowledge,
had that knowledge,
exactly. And even if there was, just think if there's 2 or 3 people in Flint with that knowledge, they could have actually stepped up and said, "Hey, look, here's the solution to our problem. Let's all get together, and this is what we got to do, and we can actually start filtering this lead out and take care of it ourselves." Because obviously the city government. But you know what a lot of people think? Government will take care of it. That's their job. We pay taxes for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I can just sit on my couch and not have to worry about it. Government will take
the
care of it.
government would take care of me, man.
Affordable and clean energy. Rich, I'm going to have to let you go on this one, and then when you're done, I'll say my word and we'll move on to number 8.
Well,
because
why you're not into this topic?
I'm very interested in this topic.
You go on for.
But I'm very skeptical about this topic. Not that it's possible. I know for a fact. The next topic is, if anybody, I don't even think we've mentioned it, affordable and clean energy. Okay? Knowing my name is Nick Tesla. Okay? Knowing that my greatest dead hero is Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay?
Tesla,
The master of alternative and clean energy. Okay? He wanted to give us free energy from the energy that emanates from the planet. Okay?
See,
that would have been the most clean and renewable and sustainable energy source that we could have used.
See, to me, what the problem with clean energy, it all comes down to money, and it's greed.
Well, right now we've already got it though. Exactly,
it's
completely.
Yeah, we have it.
We've had it, and we've had it for years.
It's greed,
and it's like
it's greed.
The greed has stopped people, but now it's coming to the point where the greed is almost like, well, hold up, we can make money.
It's starting to keep people in the
We can make money and thank God for Elon Musk for starting Solar City.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
without Solar City, I don't know if the actual solar game would have been, because I believe what Solar City did was found a way for the industry to lower the price of what do you call it? Of solar panels.
Solar panels, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once the price of solar panels is lowered, all of a sudden it becomes affordable for other businesses to start putting them up. And now all of a sudden it's a business all in its own.
You know what's cool?
I'll
tell you what, man. There's a lot of people that are actually using solar panels and clean energy.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. Yeah, I love it. Dude.
I've been to tons of houses at my job, and you can see people like one of the houses I did Friday, huge, massive solar panels in their backyard and massive solar panels on top of their roof.
Yep.
Like, it was just ridiculous, man. But what it all comes down to is greed. The only reason why we don't have clean energy now, and this is why Nikola Tesla's invention isn't out now, is because of greed.
Yeah.
People didn't realize you could make money off of it, and that's why we don't have clean energy. If people could get their head out of their ass and realize that it's not about money and greed, we wouldn't be having this problem right now.
It's like J.P. Morgan.
It's definitely a greed thing.
J.P. Morgan, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering the quote, but J.P. Morgan basically said back in the day when he heard about Nikola Tesla having the ability to give everybody free energy, he said, these people will not get their energy from free. They will pay me for their energy. I will not let them have energy for free. All right, so we'll fly through to that one real quick. Number 8 is decent work and economic growth. I think that requires. That's one of the ones where I said more than 50% of these I fully believe in. This one, the way that's worded to me, I'm sure there's solutions to it that are not government intervention or involved.
That comes down to,
but that's a government thing,
yeah,
and that's I believe constantly keeping an economy in a growing state is not a positive thing. Is not always necessary. Okay, and that's where I think we come into a lot of problems where we have what the fuck is it? Planned obsolescence.
Yeah,
we have things where people just get screwed over just so the economy can just continue to grow. I don't have too much information
on that to know.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. All I can say about that is I work for a manufacturing company, and industry has changed over the past 50 years, especially in this country, but I have a feeling it's around the world where it's become global, or it's become centralized in China and Japan and certain countries where making things has been localized to only there. But as far as the rest of the world, like, I really long for, this is all I can really think of, and it might be a stupid point to make, but I long for working at this manufacturing place. I'm the only employee there. That place used to have 20 employees.
That's insane.
That place used to have 20 employees. Back in the 70s and 80s, had 20 employees who came every day, came in, did their stuff, went home, made their paychecks, had benefits, all this. I long for that day when I can feel that place booming again. I believe there's a lot of other factories and plants out there where they're just empty.
Because the government's
been torn down or they're empty. empty because
it's because the government. I mean, it's because them people, they want to make cheap money, man.
Yeah,
outsourcing.
outsourcing.
They want to go out. Hey, I'll hire the Mexican people
Yeah.
for $5.
Yeah.
I build a factory down there.
Yeah.
Or not even $2 an hour
Yeah.
or some crap like that. And
Yeah.
that's where the downfall is when it comes to that, man.
Yeah. What's the next one, man?
The next one is reduce inequalities.
Yes. That one I'm borderline myself. My only thought on that is I 150% agree that needs to be addressed, but I 150% disagree that government should have any action involved in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
The government should not be telling us
What to
that
do.
we have to respect this group and we have to respect that group.
Exactly.
And well, we're not really worried about this group right now. The government should not be involved in
Yeah,
that.
they shouldn't
That's a
be.
social issue that humanity has to
Work out on its
struggle
own.
and work out
Yeah.
on its own. And the government is only going to make that worse. Is only going to divide us more.
And look at it. If you
know?
look at it in Africa, it's happening in Africa.
Because what are they there to do? Government's there to conquer.
Yeah, the government's-
right?
yeah, the government's
So
there
what do
to-
they do to conquer? Divide and
Yep,
conquer.
divide it and
so
get-
they're going to
that's why
divide
they-
us. When they get involved, they're not going to bring us together. They're going to divide us into more and more different groups.
In all them countries right now, that's why Africa's in shit
what-
right now.
That's what literally just, oh my God, it's like nails on a chalkboard right now with this political shit because it is dividing everybody. And then they come back together once it's over, everything's all great again. But everybody gets divided and it seems to be okay. Well, no, you don't know what you're talking about because Republicans can save the world now. No, but you don't know what you're talking about because Democrats can save the world. And it's like, why are we so divided? Why can we not find a way to connect and say, it's all bullshit. It's all just
exactly.
bullshit.
This man
You
is
know?
finding his way into the office anyway, man.
Yeah.
Sustainable cities and communities.
That's the one that I don't agree with whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't agree with whatsoever because same as the last one, like as far as a social thing, humanity's own problem that we got to figure out.
We have to
figure it out. Community has to figure that
Yeah.
out, not government.
See, when it comes down to it,
Huh.
humans shouldn't be living in giant cities.
Yeah.
People get along better when there's not too many people around them. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be 9 billion people on the planet, but what I am saying is when you have a high concentration of people, like in New York City, and you have how many millions of people in New York City? 8 million people, something like that.
It's 9 million.
Some crazy shit like that. When you have
It's
that,
like 30 million. I
yeah,
thought it was a lot.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of people
Yeah,
up there.
exactly.
And when you have too many people like that in one congested area, it's not happening.
It's not, but do you know the first thing I think of, Rich? And I know you're probably going to say it's a little bit off topic, but it really, like, it came to the front of my head, and I have to fucking say it, is all these countries that are all these cities, these population hubs, right? Like New York City, Tokyo. You see them, and you see the people that interact in them, and it's the most amazing thing to watch. The people walking across the street, and everybody, it's just like
It's robotic.
but it's robot. It's almost like there's a flow to it, like there's cells in a body or something. Or you watch these cars in Japan or like India or something like that, and these cars are weaving in and out of each other, but like crossing each other's path and this and that. And there's no, you can watch it for a half an hour, and there's no accident.
Yeah.
You're like, wait,
That's crazy,
there's
man.
supposed to be an accident. So somehow all of these people are able to mesh together and smoothly. You
But
know what I'm saying? Somehow we're able to, but yeah, you're right.
If we're gonna
it's not
have
natural.
if we're gonna have sustainable cities and communities, I think communities have to start having, like, what do they call it? It's like a central hub. So like you have like a central, and it's kind of the same layout, but you have a layout where downtown is a place where you go and you do things, but then on the outside, it's not built like little cities, like let's say Riverside. We have like a little city. It's kind of, this is a city, so we're living in a little city. I think it should be a little bit more spread out. We have the land
I think
to do
you
it.
have past life memories of like when America was first settled, not by Indians, by the white man.
You think so?
I think you have past life memories of that. I think I have past life memories of that because I yearn for the exact same
that's a different
thing,
subject, man.
Rich.
I'm an atheist, man. I don't believe none of that crap.
Thing. I yearn for the exact same thing. Now, it's not reincarnation. In my belief, it's not reincarnation. You're actually experiencing that timeline right now.
No,
And then you're living that timeline and maybe 3 or 4 different timelines. You're all connected because time doesn't exist. So you're all connected through all these different timelines. And it's all just you, Rich. It's all just you. But you're actually experiencing some shit from the 1700s. It's fine.
Responsible consumption and production.
Responsible consumption and production. Exactly. All right. Now, if you're going to buy an ounce of weed, there's no point, okay? There's no point in going out and buying a box of blunts and rolling all that shit up and smoking it all in a half a night.
Yeah, like you don't need fucking 40 pairs of Jordans, man.
No,
like,
you don't. Thank you.
There's no reason.
What is this collecting sneakers shit?
You don't need
okay,
Jordans.
I want to collect some sneakers, but I got about a pair or two that I'm interested in getting. Not 150 different pairs.
Or 20 shirts or 18.
What is that, dude?
You don't need it.
And those people that
Relax.
are doing that, I guarantee you, 99.9% of those people that love to collect those certain things, like me, I collect my funny shirts. I don't even think about the people that are making this and the lives that they're living and the 12 cents a day that they're getting paid or whatever it is, and the shitty living conditions. The slave labor that they're being put through.
I thought the sneaker industry was bad when it came to that. You know what the biggest and to me the worst industry is for overconsumption? Cell phones. It is so fucking bad, dude. If you think about it, every
as far as minerals and things like that, yeah.
No, not even that, but every 10 minutes there's some other phone coming out to be sold.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah. They need to realize
technology in general. Technology in general, not just cell phones.
It's so bad. It's coming out. It's coming out too quick.
Literally, I've watched in the past 6 months. I've watched at least 3 or 4 different documentaries. 3 or 4 different documentaries showing places across the planet. Okay, where we're here, everything's somewhat clean. Yeah, you got a Twinkie wrapper here and there, somebody's empty cigarette pack on the ground here and there. We got a little bit of litter. But you see these other countries where they are full of technology, dude. They are full of our old technology. So moving on, all right? Climate action,
we talked about climate.
I don't even want to talk about it.
We already talked about
nonsense.
That. Life below water. All right, so.
The coral reefs.
We got to do something about that shit.
Yeah.
Straight up. Because, honestly, like, it's pretty fucked up, man.
Okay.
We're destroying the coral reefs, and we're by year 2025, we're going to completely just wipe out. Not wipe out.
We're poisoning the oceans.
We're poisoning the oceans, but
there's
we're going to
massive fish kills.
We're eating
multiple
so
times
much
a year.
fish.
But there's massive fish kills. I'm talking about fish that are showing up on beaches just dead. Whales showing up on beaches dead, like massive, like not just one or two, a bunch of them.
You ever see
dolphins?
The giant squid? A couple of giant squid that ended up on.
I think I did.
You know, it's crazy because what was it? 1800s. Even early 1990s.
Everybody thought it was a myth.
Yeah,
exactly. That it never existed. It was just an old sea tale, and it's kind of it reminds me of mermaids. There's sea tales, old sea tales, and old sea legends of mermaids.
Do you believe in mermaids?
I'm not saying mermaids, but maybe there's something down there that has the resemblance, takes the top half of it, resembles somewhat of a human being.
I would say a dolphin.
You know, maybe has fins that are almost like arms with little hands that come off, and they're like, that's a human being, you know? And maybe it has tits, and that's why they say, like, they would sit up on something and be, like, alluring. Because if you see tits from a mile away through some, what do you call it? Through some binoculars, but that's all you can really make out is those tits, you're going to check it out, okay? In the middle of the ocean, you're going to go check out these tits. Who cares what it's on? You're going to go check out these tits, okay? But, all right, life below water, I don't want to hear anybody talking about solutions when it comes to that until we start talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The Great Northern Pacific Garbage Patch.
They're doing something right now to clean that up.
Okay, well, until that is cleaned up, until we can fully address that, then we're not working on life below water.
Ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yo, it's almost as big as a continent.
You know what that is?
That's crazy.
That's somebody saying, "Oh my God, your parents are coming over today." Okay, honey, real quick, grab a broom and lifting up the carpet and sweeping everything under the carpet, laying it back down and saying, "Hey, welcome to the house. Doesn't it look great in here?" When you got a shitload of nasty stuff under the carpet. That's all it is sweeping the problem under the carpet.
How big did they say that trash thing? It was almost as big as a continent.
Size of Texas.
Yes, or something like that. It was like size of a huge state.
Insane.
That is insane.
Yeah. And here's my thing: is we could have taken that and built homeless people houses out of all that recycled material.
All them bottles.
What the fuck? Or actually put it all, clumped it all together and turned it into an island and created a new.
Do you ever see the guy that did that? A guy that
exactly.
The guy really believe it or not, he took those bottles and he made an island out of it. That's pretty awesome.
And the island's like constantly growing.
He landed in Mexico and the Mexican government was like, "Oh, we want to make this part of our land." So shut the fuck up, man. It's an artificial.
That's like my dream
island. That is awesome.
Like that is pretty cool. It's like it's your place.
Yeah,
it's literally your land.
He's growing his own food. He has his own animals.
You know what I would have playing? I would have a little radio playing, just like on the outskirts of my island, but a little radio playing. This land is my land. This land is your land. You know
that is fucking awesome.
Number 15, life on land.
When it comes to life on land, I think we have to start looking at not just all right. We were talking about women as equals. We have to start looking at animals as not as equals.
Yes, animals are just as much
Yes.
of a conscious being as we are. People like to think.
Yes.
I used to get into an argument.
Oh,
with
it's
one
just
of-
a fucking cat.
I got into an argument with my social studies teacher in freshman year of high school, and this guy, he was a devout Christian, but he believed that all animals, when they die, they don't have a soul. They rot in the ground, and they're
Yeah,
just
see,
corpses.
stupid.
And they don't. And it's
Stupid.
I used to get into the biggest arguments with him about this because I knew inherently inside my bones, inside my
There was
soul,
something there.
that is completely false.
Yeah.
That every living being has a consciousness. The worm with no eyes has a consciousness.
Yep.
Do not say that it doesn't have consciousness because it doesn't interact like a human
So
being
when it comes
does.
down to life on land, we should definitely be taking care of all of the animals, man. And like I mean, I'm bringing this back up, but going vegan shows your compassion for other living beings. It shows your compassion for the animals, and that's why.
You know what irks me? When you hear people, you're right, you're 100% right. You hear people saying that that we need to work on spaying, neutering your cats and your dogs and this and that. Well, the human population is out of control, but you don't hear people saying, you do hear China for a while, even though they just changed it, the one-child policy, but you don't really hear people saying, like, don't have kids. Don't have kids. Like, you shouldn't have kids. But they say that about cats and dogs. Well, how come that life isn't allowed to flourish on this planet?
Exactly.
Because we can't take care of them? That's why? Because there's too many of them that we can't take care of? Well, we got the exact same problem with
you know
humans.
what? It's not that
Let's
there's-
take care of them.
what's
Let's find a
crazy
way to
is
take
not-
care of
it's
them,
not
not
that
say
there's too-
we need to kill them all for...
No, it's not that there's too many of them. It's just that, you know what we do? We have this big problem with control. We want to control everything. So what we do is we domesticate those animals. And when we domesticate them, what do? When they don't have homes, we put them in shelters and then we just kill them off.
Yeah.
Why don't we
So
just
sad.
release them back in the wild?
Exactly, or have sanctuaries. That's one of my biggest goals is to make a homeless cat sanctuary where I can contact all the places around and get their cats that they're getting ready to put to sleep. Their cat can come here and live out its life.
They have
know?
plenty of those. They
Not enough. Not for cats.
But
They have them for big cats, not for little cats. All right, last or not last, second to last, and this is probably the most important of them all, other than institutions. Strong institutions, peace,
justice.
and strong institutions.
Well,
Because that's that to me. I hear government.
we'll never.
in there
Yeah, that's all government.
day, every
we're
day.
never gonna have peace in justice or peace justice. We're never gonna have that until we can fix our racist problem.
We need political reform. We need the whole entire political system needs to be taken. Like when you eat crabs, you know, you got your crab stuff all over the place. That's basically what it is. We've abused it. We need to take it up, wrap it up in newspaper, throw it away, and start something new. All right, last but not least, partnerships for the goals. That's number one, or not number one, but it's the last one on there, and I think it's for a reason, because everybody needs to come together, and we are not going to solve these issues by dividing and bickering amongst
And
ourselves.
as soon as this,
we're going to come together.
As soon as we realize that, you know, the only thing that's separating us is a fucking melon. What is it? Is it melatonin? Not melatonin.
Melanin?
Melanin.
Yeah.
In the pigment of our skin, that's
Yeah.
just giving us a different color.
Yeah.
As soon as we start realizing that, man.
Well,
and-
also that we don't relate as humans or to humanity. We don't think of ourselves as I'm a human first. No, we think of ourselves as I'm an American first,
Yeah.
or I'm a Democrat first, or I'm a gun supporter first, or I'm a white guy first. And it's like just like you were saying, like
Yeah.
there's we divide ourselves and try and define
I
ourselves
think
in
that's
all
the
these
problem
instead
with-
of saying I'm a human. Therefore, poverty is kind of my issue because that's a human issue. I'm a human. Hunger is kind of a human issue. So you know what? It's kind of my issue, and I need to kind of care
that's
about
the
it a little
problem
bit.
with. I think that's a big problem with humanity is that humanity tends to categorize things too much. I was actually talking to my wife about this yesterday. Humans categorize everything too much.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that we categorize everything too much is our biggest downfall.
Yeah.
It brings separation. We're human. Right? Oh no, yeah. That's why I hate the term human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the term human. Why don't I like the term human? Because it's a separation. I would rather be called a Homo sapien. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because at least the term Homo sapien means that we're still a part of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
We started to separate ourselves from animals. We started to separate ourselves from nature. We're even starting to separate ourselves from technology to a degree. Like we're merging with technology, but on the fucking flip side, we're still separating ourselves from technology. You know what I mean? Like. And because we have these separations, we're never gonna have peace and throughout. Period. It's never going to happen.
You know what I like, and you know if they're one of their main things is separation, but I've found that they have the answers much more than any of us do. If we can learn to adopt some of their ways of living, we can actually have a chance at fixing all this. The Amish. I don't like their religious.
Oh, I love the Amish.
I don't like their religious aspect of it.
Good. Yeah, you ever eat their food?
Oh my god, their food is the best. If you go to Stoltzfus, dude, anything Stoltzfus, you'll lose your mind.
I am from Reading, Pennsylvania, man, and it's not Amish country. It's the hood. It's the gutter. But when you take a trip outside, man, and you get one of them Amish apple pies. Oh my god, you go to Lancaster. Oh god.
Yeah, there's actually, if anybody is interested, and you're from the area, from the tri-state area, Philly, New Jersey, Delaware, right? If you're interested in some really good Amish food, the Newcastle, Delaware Farmers Market has a whole Amish section where they have literally like 10 different Amish stores, and it's all Amish food.
It's good,
and it
man.
is amazing. I always go to the pretzel place and get their stuffed pretzels.
Their stuffed pretzels are good.
Oh my god! But the Amish got to figure it out. Obviously, they got to figure it out if their food is so wholesome and so good. Yeah. They've got to figure it out. And nobody's dying. They're not dying of cancer and this and that. And they die of like natural causes, and they're still eating kind of unhealthy.
But why? Because they didn't separate themselves from nature.
They didn't separate themselves from nature. They separated themselves from us.
Yes, exactly.
But maybe that's part of the solution is creating communities that separate themselves from the old world. Because that's what I call this. This is all the old world. Okay? Yeah. The new world will come. But people have got to start stepping up and creating the new world and allowing people, like creating communities and saying, if you are sick of the old world and you are ready for something new and ready for an evolutionary change for humanity, come here.
And let's
do it together.
You know what's crazy? Is that here in Jersey and in Pennsylvania, to do that, to go off what they would call off-grid, is illegal.
It's illegal a lot of places.
You can't do it.
It's illegal a lot of places.
Why? Okay, so if I don't believe, if I don't believe,
just because it's illegal,
I know, yeah, of course. But I think it's messed up that as a people, if I'm not happy here, because honestly, I'm not happy here. I've never been happy here, and I've told my wife, hey, if we ever get a divorce, I'm not going to fucking California. I'm not going here. You know where I'm going? I'm going to the fucking wilderness. I swear to God, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I'm just going to paint and shit all day. And I'm just going to live in the fucking mountains.
You'll build yourself a little cabin in the mountains in Canada or something. Yeah, nobody will mess with you.
Nobody fucking bothers me.
Yeah.
And I think it's messed up that we can't live the way we want to live. Yes. Like if I don't want to live with fucking TVs and apartment buildings, I should be allowed to not live like that. I see us going
in the direction and people almost being accepting of it, even though they tout that personal freedom is important. I see us going in the direction of people almost wanting to, like, not wanting to be told themselves, but wanting to tell other people, you shouldn't be doing that. Then the government needs to tell you shouldn't be doing that. And we're so willing to, more and more willing to say, you know what, you shouldn't be able to do that. Or, you know what, that's not right. Well, if I can't do it, then you shouldn't be able to do
exactly.
it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's the problem. Like, I would love to go out and live in the wilderness, but you're right. And you don't want to trespass on state property or this, and it's like,
dude, you know what? It's trees, man. What do you?
Exactly.
You're not doing anything with it, man. Just relax, all right? Relax.
All right. So you know what, dude? This has been one of the greatest shows of all time. Well, 3 and 9 is one of the greatest shows of all time. This has been a really great show.
As soon as you people start listening to it and catching up on it, man, you're going to realize our potential.
No. The potential is becoming abundantly evident and clear. Next week's show is going to be... Well, if you want to find us on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook.com/3NM Podcast. Please share and like and subscribe to YouTube.com/Where We Lied To, even though you're probably watching this on there, but maybe you're watching it on Spreaker or seeing it on Spreaker. Spreaker. It's for the audio and stuff.
I never heard of Spreaker.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But you can also check us out. I'm on Facebook. Just look for Nick Tesla. He's on Facebook. Just look for
Richard Collazo. Or you could go Richard Collazo, The Mind of Rich at blogspot.com.
The Ninja, the Ninja.
Yeah, the Ninja, man. Or you can find me on YouTube at The Mind of Rich at youtube.com.
There you go. Yeah, look out for Rich. He's going to have some more videos coming this year. It's going to be awesome.
I'm also doing I'm an artist, so I'm also doing a graphic novel that I'm working on right now.
Oh, cool.
I'll share some details about it, but... I'm working really hard on my graphic novel, so if you guys want to, take a read, just take out my blog, and I'll be posting up updates and just random art, and getting this going. So be expecting it, man.
Cool beans, man.
Hope you guys enjoy it.
Cool beans. No, we call it, check out the East Coast Cannabis Coalition 2016 Unity Cypher.
420, baby, 420.
It's basically like how they take the torch from one place to another.
420.
They're taking a giant weed torch or joint torch. It's not going to be real, obviously, but it's going to look like a joint, and it's going to be a torch that they're going to carry from Maine to Florida.
That's
really
really
awesome
fucking
thing. Check
sick,
it out.
man.
If you're along the East Coast within the next couple months, they'll be stopping through your town, so it might be pretty
I'll be
awesome
there.
to come out and support them. I'm
I'll
going to
be
come
there.
out and support
Yeah,
them. You know
I'll
what
be
I'm saying? I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold the torch or carry the torch. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to, but still being able to be there for it, that's something I'm going to be able to tell my kids about. I don't care if it's not reported in history books. That's something I'm going to be able to tell my kids about, so it's going to be cool. So everybody check that out. Last thing, next week's show, nutrition is medicine. Can we reverse diseases and dis-ease?
Ooh, this is going to be a good one because
It's going to be an amazing
yeah,
one, Rich.
My wife is a nutritionist, and I actually been studying her textbooks and stuff like that. Very interesting stuff. So this is going to be a good show next week, man.
I need you to look up, maybe I still have it up, Raw, Dr. Joel Furman. You probably might even already know who he is. Joel Furman Raw. Oh, no. So I guess that means we got to be done because something's playing outside of my control. All right, kids, it's been a great show. We'll see you next week.
Next week.
Check it out. Check us out online. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. It's been fun. Brian, we'll have you back next week.
McFadden, I miss you, man.
Put down your controller and get your rear end over here next week.
And you already know this is 3NN, guys.
This is 3NN. If you're listening to this, you are the future.
Peace.
Peace. And that will be about it.
You're gonna get hit in the balls.